Today we continue jhana factors. Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, and Ekagata are called jhana factors because they alone have the ability to contemplate or to examine the object closely, and also because they are the direct opposites of the 5 nivarana, mental hindrances. Vitakka takes your mind onto the object. Vichara keeps your mind anchored there. As Sukha intensify it, and supported by these 4 Cetasika, taking your mind to the object, keeping it there, refreshing and intensify it, then Ekagata. One pointedness of mind puts your mind on the object evenly and undistractedly. So the second question is, five factors of jhana are direct opposites of the 5 mental hindrances. Which is the direct opposite of which mental hindrances? Vitakka is the opposite of sloth and torpor. Tinameda. Vichara is the opposite of Vijikaja, doubt. Piti is the opposite of Evil Vyavada. Sukha and Ekagata are the opposites of restlessness and remorse, Uddhacca and Gokucha. And Ekagata is the opposite of sensual desire, Kamicchanda. All these factors inhibit their opposites. Vitakka is the opposite of Tina and Meda, sloth and torpor. Vitakka takes your mind to the object. When there is vitakka, there is a kind of mental activities. Vitakka has something like the nature of shaking. When there is vitakka, Tina and Meda cannot overwhelm your mind. That is why sometimes people say, I cannot go to sleep because I have a lot of vitakka. As long as there is vitakka, Tina and Meda are inhibited. But in the practice of meditation, vitakka takes your mind to the objects. It is very useful. And vichara is the direct opposite of vichikeja, doubt. Vichara is repeated investigation. Vichara is examining the object, keeping your mind anchored onto the object. So vichara is like pinya, wisdom. Since it is like pinya, it is the opposite of doubt. If you have pinya, if you have good understanding, no doubt at all. And piti is the opposite of vyavada. You satisfy with the object. At that moment, no anger, no tough, no tense, no liking, because you satisfy with the object. You relax, that is piti. So when there is piti, you don't have a will, vyavada. And sukha is the opposite of uddhacca, restlessness and remorse. Restlessness here means restlessness of mind. When the mind is restless, maybe the body is also restless. Restlessness and remorse are the direct opposites of sukha. When you are happy, that means when you are peaceful, there is no restlessness and no remorse. So these two, restlessness and remorse, are something like making your mind agitated. Sukha is peaceful, so it is the opposite of restlessness and remorse, uddhacca and gokucca. Ekagata, one-pointedness of mind, is the direct opposite of kamicchanda. When we have sensual desire, our minds are taken to different objects, desire, pleasurable sight, sound, smell, etc. Our minds are taken to these various kinds of desirable object. When we are attached to these things and our minds go round, so ekagata does not let the mind go here and there. Do not go to this side, do not go to the sound, do not follow the smell, etc. Ekagata keeps your mind stable and on one object. So it is the opposite of sensual desire. Yogi practicing here want to develop ekagata. That means you want to develop samadhi. Yogi should have little sensual desire, only just breakfast and lunch, little sensual desire. So long as we have sensual desire, we cannot hope to get samadhi, we cannot hope concentration, because our minds will always be attached to various kinds of objects, sight, sound, etc. And our minds will be attracted to these different objects. If the mind is always going to different objects, the mind cannot get rest, the mind cannot be still, so we cannot get concentration. We should keep it in mind and try to have the least sense desire as is possible, so we may develop concentration. Upekkha is the nature of peacefulness. Actually, upekkha is more peaceful than sukha. Upeka is said to be similar to Sukha, so it is the direct opposite of restlessness and remorse, Udicca and Kokoja. Because these five Upeka and Sukha are considered as one, are the opposites of five mental hindrances. They alone are called constituents of jhana, or members of jhana or jhana factors. So there are two reasons given for their being called jhana factors. One is that they alone possess the ability to examine the object closely or to contemplate the objects closely. And also they alone are the direct opposites of the five mental hindrances. So long as there are mental hindrances in our minds, we can hope to get concentration, let alone jhana. So mental hindrances are inhibited by these jhana factors. So we have to recite again five jhana factors inhibit temporarily five mental hindrances. Vidaka inhibit, sloth and torpor, etc. Can you follow me? Vidaka inhibit, sloth and torpor. Vichara inhibit doubt. Piti inhibit ill will. Sukha inhibit restlessness and remorse. Ekagata inhibit sensual desire. Upekha inhibit restlessness and remorse. So five jhana factors temporarily inhibit five mental hindrances. And there are some more to understand about jhana. It is important that we understand this. You know, jhana is twofold, two kinds. Aramanupan nijjhana and Lakhanupan nijjhana. The first one, jhana, is that which examines closely the object. The meaning of jhana is to observe closely, to examine closely, to meditate closely. Here we use the meaning examine closely. That is the meaning of the word jhana, that which examines closely the object. So that is first jhana, aramanupan nijjhana in Samata meditation. And vipassana, jhana is that which examines closely the characteristics. That is lakhanupan nijjhana. Lakhana is translated as mark or characteristics. So it is that which closely examines the mark or characteristics. So that is Lakhanupan nijjhana. So two kinds of jhana. There is jhana of aramana and jhana of lakhana. What are aramanas here? Aramana means the objects of meditation. It is the objects of Samata meditation, like kasina discs, parts of the body, hair, hairs of body, nail teeth, etc., corpses, and so on. So these are aramana. The 8 attainments, 4 rupa vajra and 4 arupa vajra jhanas, are called aramanupa nijana. That means the first one, because they observe closely or examine closely the mental objects of Katsina. For example, not the kasina itself, but the mental object of the kasina in the mind. Jhana consciousness takes the mental object. They are called Aramanupanne jhana because they closely examine these aramanas, objects. And vipassana, mega and phala are called Lakanupanne jhana. It is important whenever we find the word jhana, we think it only means rupa vajra jhana and arupa vajra jhana. Sometimes vipassana can be called jhana. Mega path can be called jhana. Phala, fruition, can also be called jhana. There can be confusion if we don't know which jhana is meant in a certain context. Vipassana is called Lakanupanne jhana. Now here the lakana, the characteristic is closely examined. Vipassana is so called because it closely examines the characteristics of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self. So these three are called characteristics. They are common characteristics of all conditioned phenomena. When yogi practice vipassana meditation, yogi will see these 3 characteristics in whatever object you take at that moment. Vipassana can be called jhana because it examines closely these 3 characteristics. Mega is so called. We have not come to mega yet. It belongs to supramundane consciousness. Mega is so called because the work done by vipassana comes to be accomplished. The work done by vipassana comes to an end through mega. When you attain mega, when mega is reached, your vipassana is finished. Mega is actually the outcome of vipassana practice. But mega is not a vibhaga resultant. Vipassana work comes to an end. Vipassana work reach its culmination when mega is reached, when you attain mega. So mega is also called Lakanupa Nijana. Mega does not take Lakana as object. However, Mega takes Nirvana as object. Still, Mega is called Lakanupa Nijana, contemplation on Lakana, simply because the task of Vipassana, which is to closely examine the three characteristics, comes to an end, comes to be accomplished. So Mega is also called Lakanupa Nijana. Pala, the vipaka of Mega, resultant of Mega, is so called because it examines the truth of cessation, which is the characteristics of the truth. Nibbana is called the truth of cessation here. The truth of cessation, Nibbana, is taken by Pala as object. Nibbana is the characteristics of truth. So Pala is also called Lakanupa Nijana. Here Lakana means the characteristics of Nibbana truth, but when Lakana refers to Vipassana, it means the three characteristics, anicca, dukkha, and anatta, impermanence, suffering, and no soul. With regard to Pala, being called Lakanupa Nijana, then Lakana means the characteristics of Nibbana, not impermanence, not suffering, not soul, not soul, so etc. etc. There is the difference. According to the description, jhana can mean 4 rupa vajra jhana, 4 arupa vajra jhana, and vipassana, mega, and pala. So now you understand jhana does not mean rupa jhana and arupa jhana everywhere. And in the Dhammavada, Buddha said, Tu mehi kijamadabam akhataro tathagata padipana pamaukandi jayino mara bandhana. You yourself must make the effort. Tathagatas or Buddhas are only teachers. Those who have entered the path and examine it closely by Samata jhana and Vipassana jhana, we get free from the bonds of Mara. In the Dhammavada, Buddha said. So here the word jhana is used. Actually here, jayino, that means those yogis who experience jhana, those meditators who experience jhana. What kinds of jhana? Samata jhana and Vipassana jhana. Those yogis who practice jhana, who experience jhana, get free from the bonds of Mara. That means yogis will become enlightened. Yogis will become arahants. If yogi take jhana to means just rupa jhana or arupa jhana, it doesn't make sense here. Because you have to practice vipassana meditation in order to become enlightened. That is why the commentary said there are two kinds of jhana. Tathagatas are merely those who proclaim, who teach. So those yogi who have stepped on the path in accordance with what Tathagata proclaimed and examined closely by two kinds of jhana. When the commentary said two kinds of jhana, yogi understand they are referring to Aranupa Nijana and Lakanupa Nijana. In this Dhammavada verse, yogi must understand that this person, this yogi, practice both samatha and vipassana meditation. If you do not understand this, you will be confused here. You may think, why are they saying jhana to means vipassana or something like that? So there are two kinds of jhana, but here in the Abhidhamma jhana, we only means Rupavachara jhana and Arupavachara jhana. So that is first jhana consciousness. It is called fast because it is attained fast, and also it comes fast when Buddha taught. Attainments of jhana is something like you go to school and you get examination of grades and go higher and higher. First, you want to finish high school. Finishing high school is good for you in the beginning at that time. After you have finished high school, you don't think it is great. So you want to go to a university, then you go to a university and get a bachelor degree. After getting a bachelor degree, you think it is not so good. You want a higher degree, a master degree. After getting a master degree, you want to go further for a doctorate. In the same way, a yogi who has attained first jhana may not be satisfied with just first jhana. Yogi may want to attain the higher jhana. So what must yogi do in order to attain the higher jhana? First, he must make himself very familiar with the first jhana. That means he must be able to get into it the moment he wants. He must be able to be in that jhana for as long as he wish, a minute or maybe a day. He must have that jhana. And in short, he have to practice again on the meditation object and reach higher and higher jhana, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, etc. So regarding jhana, regarding samadhi, we have to explain the question and answer between Visakha and Dhammadena. It's come from Jula Vedana Sutta. In the Jula Vedana Sutta, Visakha asks the question Dhammadena. Dhammadena answers, what is Samadhi? Samadhi means ekagata. So the mind has only one, the consciousness which very well keeps the mind tranquil is Samadhi. The stability or tranquility of the mind is Samadhi. Now yogi may understand Citta and Ekagata are different. Citta is Citta, mind is mind. Tranquility, Ekagata is another one. In Abhidhamma, mind and tranquility are different. So according to Samata Bhavana, whether it is the object is Patavi, earth, so they just contemplate earth, earth, earth to develop concentration. And Kasina Nimitta Apo, water, they contemplate on water, water, water. And such other kinds of nimitta falling within the category of asubha, coughs, and anapana, breathing in and out, and nimitta concerning hairs of the body, nail, teeth, skin, etc. These are the objects of samatha meditation. So yogi try to fix their mind on these objects, on one object. So this is called ekagata. The mind does not wander at all, but remains serene and undisturbed on a single object. So if it is samatha samadhi, it will remain calm and tranquil, dwelling on one of the nimitta, one of the object. So samatha meditators, they contemplate in, out, breathing in, out. So only that one object. So when samadhi is strong, the mind will remain fixed on that breathing in, out all the times for 5 or 10 minutes or so. If it is jhana samadhi, the mind will stay put for 1 or 2 more hours. If samadhi is extraordinarily strong, the mind will remain fixed for a whole day, in, out, in, out. If they practice hairs of the body, nail, teeth, skin, etc., 32 parts of the body, but Finally, the yogis have to take only one object, bone, bone, etc. Only just bone, 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 bone. He takes only this one object. And some people think that if they are contemplate on the arising phenomena at every moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, your mind will go wander. You do not gain samadhi. So they think, because you have many objects, seeing you have to note, hearing you have to note, smelling you have to note, rising, falling you have to note. So your mind go wander, you cannot gain samadhi. But it is not true. The state of tranquility, the state of samadhi have two kinds. Samata samadhi is one kind and vipassana is another one. Samata samadhi and vipassana samadhi, they are different from one another. Vipassana carries this object. Vipassana carries the sense that all phenomena arising at every moment of seeing, hearing, must be known with awareness. Sabba abhinyayam. It mentions Salayana Vega Sanyutta Pali. Sabba abhinyaya. You have to know every phenomena arising at every moment of seeing, hearing, etc. And sabbam patinyayam. You need to be aware of these in analytical ways. So according to this teaching preached by the Buddha, all psychophysical phenomena involved in the acts of seeing, hearing, etc. should be contemplated. There's nothing which should not be contemplated. So arising of all nama and rupa through the six sense doors must be continually contemplated. Although a great number of objects are contemplated, penetrative concentration closely fixed on the objects. It is the fixing the mind with attentiveness on only one object. When concentration is gaining strength, although objects are changing, your mind continuously remains tranquil and calm without distraction as usual. So this is called Vipassana Khanika Samadhi. In Vipassana, we call Khanika Samadhi momentary concentration. At the initial stage of contemplation, before concentration becomes firm and strong, it will be noted that while in the process of contemplating, the mind wanders. But when concentration gains momentum, your mind becomes stable, it remains calm without wandering. Your mind dwells fixedly on the objects. So that is obvious enough. as to how the wandering mind is dispelled by concentration. And it is also clear that the mind does not also incline or move to other objects by remaining tranquil. It is reflected in the knowledge of contemplation. When yogi reach Sankharakkhanda, knowledge of equanimity, yogi find even if the mind is led to move and fix on the other objects, yogi try the mind go away, but the mind will not stay these objects for long. The mind will automatically come back to the main object, reverted to the usual object of contemplation, and the mind remain calm. During the moment of Ariya Mega, when yogi attain Mega Chaita, the mind remains absorbed in the nature of cessation, of suffering only for a short while. However, as it remains calm with penetrative concentration in the nature of bliss, so it may be stated as ekagata, one-pointedness. When yogi is absorbed in palasamapati, samadhi, the mind can continuously remain in a state of tranquility for 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 or 10 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours for a longer duration, even for the whole day, a whole night. Yogi is absorbed in that samadhi. So we need to remember in particular is that in the case of Samata Samadhi, a continuous series of mind dwell on its object. The kinds of samadhi is Pabandha Samadhi. Continuous series of mind dwells on an object. So Palasamapati is the same way. But in Vipassana Samadhi, continuous series of mind do not dwell upon one object. The mind dwells successively on each and every object for a very brief moment, one after another. So that is the reason why Vipassana Samadhi is called Khanika Samadhi, Vipassana Khanika Samadhi. So Visuddhimagga Mahadika sub-commentary said, Vipassana Khanika Samadhi lasts for only the duration of the moment of each arising. When Vipassana Khanika Samadhi, Vipassana momentary concentration, occurs uninterrupted with the objects of mind and matter, so it maintains tranquility in a single mode at a stretch. So at that moment, it is not overcome by opposing mental defilements, and it fixes the mind immovably as if in absorption jhana. So vipassana khanika samadhi, when vipassana khanika samadhi, momentary concentration is continuous. It is very powerful. It can behave like apana, absorption jhana, if it occurs uninterrupted in a single mode at a stretch. So at that moment, mental defilements cannot enter to these streams of mental process. So now we understand jhana means closely observing an object with fixed attention, and two kinds of jhana: concentrated attention to selected object of meditation, just anapana, in, out, or hairs of the body, Samata meditation, that is Samata jhana. And in Vipassana jhana, you have to know the three characteristics: nature of mind and matter, and contemplating on their impermanent suffering and non-self nature. So that is called Vipassana jhana. So we have to recite again to understand more. Paper, page number 2. Closely, observing closely and thoroughly is called jhana. There are two kinds of jhana, Samata jhana and Vipassana jhana. And Samata and Vipassana jhana. Can you follow me? Observing closely and thoroughly is called jhana. There are two kinds of jhana, Samata jhana and Vipassana jhana. Observing a fixed object is called Samata jhana. Observing the three characteristics, anicca, dukkha, and anatta, is called Vipassana jhana. So your Vipassana jhana, your Vipassana khanika samadhi can act like apana jhana, apana absorption jhana, if the momentary concentration getting continuous and strong. So now Vipassana yogi practice Kaya Nupassana, Satipatthana. Every time when you sit, you know rising, falling of the abdomen, rising, falling, sitting, touching. Whenever you see or hear, you know seeing, hearing. And the continuous dwelling of the mind fixedly on the object, which is contemplated and conceived, that is Vipassana Khanika Samadhi, Vipassana momentary concentration. When Vipassana momentary concentration getting strengthened, it can access to the Namarupa, mind and matter, and the Namarupa can be known by the power of that Khanika Samadhi, momentary concentration. And at that moment, the knowing mind and the Rupa are distinguishingly realized by that concentration. A yogi become to understand, become to capture the intention before the movement, very naturally. Intention to bend, bending. Intention to see, seeing. Intention to listen, listening. When there is no intention to listen, you totally not hear the sound. But so long as intention to listen, there is listening and understanding. So intention to listen, listening, intention to see, seeing, seeing, seeing. You observe, you note, and then you know what is seeing. Seeing comes from the eyes. Seeing because there is the object. There is no object, no seeing. Hearing. What here? Eardrums here. And hearing consciousness. And when there is no sound, no hearing, so you understand the cause and effect very clearly when you note continuously. While noting the Namarupa coming to you continuously, you understand that they disappear immediately after arising. So that nature of impermanence can be realized by the careful yogi. And in this Chula Vedana Sutta, 4 foundations of mindfulness are the causes to arise samadhi. If you want to develop samadhi, what we have to do, what you have to do, you have to develop 4 foundations of mindfulness: Kaya Nupassana, Vedana, Citta, Dhamma Nupassana, Satipatthana. Now you are practicing, and surely you can gain samadhi. You are noting the rising, falling, sitting, touching, etc. You are noting every sensation, pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. You are noting every arising consciousness. You are observing the every Dhamma object, seeing, hearing, etc. So long as you are developing, so long as you are contemplating the 4 foundations of mindfulness, 4 satipatthana are the causes to arise concentration, according to Chula Vedana Sutta. So concentration is gained by satipatthana. Although concentration is gained by sati, 4 kinds of satipatthana, it is not yet fully accomplished by sati, mindfulness alone. What are the other requisites? What are the requisites of accompaniment or the accessory? That is virya. Virya effort is needed. Virya effort is needed. So in the Satipatthana Sutta, you always reminding atapi sambhajano satima, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful. So ardent, atapa, effort, satima, mindful, and then you comprehend clearly. So in order for this clear comprehension to arise, yogi need another one, another one more things, that is concentration. So without concentration, clear comprehension cannot come. So what is concentration? You understand concentration is mental state that keeps your mind, that keeps your components of mind squarely on the objects and does not let them go to other objects. So without concentration, yogi can hope to see objects clearly. Yogi cannot hope to get clear comprehension. When you get concentration, your mind calms down and becomes quiet, and that is the time when yogi begin to see objects. It is like water. At first, there is a dirt or mud in the water, and so you cannot see through the water. But when the dirt or mud settle down and the water becomes clear, you can see through it. So your mind, our minds needs to be like the water, settled, because there are a lot of dirt, a lot of mental defilements in our mind. So long as our minds are contaminated by mental defilements, we cannot see objects clearly, we cannot see Namarupa, we cannot distinguish Namarupa clearly. So we need to suppress these mental defilements, which are called mental hindrances, settle down so that we can see clearly. So when we get concentration, we'll be able to keep these mental hindrances settled. When the mental hindrances are subdued or settled, your mind becomes clear, and it is time when clear comprehension arises. In order to get clear comprehension, we need concentration, and concentration is not mentioned in Satipatthana or Desapali. It mentioned atapi, effort, sambhajano, clear comprehension, pinya, satima, mindfulness. But we must take concentration also included in our practice, because without concentration we cannot get clear comprehension. Sometimes some words may be left out, but we have to understand them as mentioned through inference. Let's say there is a flat rock and a hunter is following a deer and he sees footprints on one side. But on the flat rock itself, hunter does not see any footprints, and again he sees the footprints on the other side. So from this, hunter infers that the deer must have run across the flat rock. He sees the beginning and he sees the end, and so he infers the middle. That deer must have run on the rock. In the same way here, yogi recite atapi, ardent effort, sambhajano, clear comprehensions, satima, mindful. So atapi and satima, ardent effort, and mindfulness is the beginning. Clear comprehension is something like the end. So what is the middle? So the middle is concentration. Because without middle, without concentration, there can be no comprehension. So when we recite the Masatipatthana, remember, Atapi Sambhajano Satima, there is concentration is included. So we have to stop our discourse for today. We will continue tomorrow by practicing Vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, continuously, meticulously, patiently. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. So